Hey, this is Mike. Thank you so much for choosing this video. Today we're checking out a 2025 Cadillac Optiq in the Luxury 2 trim level. This vehicle is sitting on 275/40 Continental tires. Now these are self-sealing tires. Wrapped around 21-inch alloy wheels with a gloss black finish. It also has four-wheel disc brakes with ventilated rotors on all four wheels. The name of this color is Radiant Red, and it looks really good. I got some compliments already on it. It's really impressive, especially with this gloss black, the wheels and everything. Now it's basically gloss black, body colored, and then these chrome accents. So you can see there's a few chrome accents here in the front, but a lot of gloss black. Now the center portion kind of like simulates a grille, but it's not. It's just a smooth plastic. It does have accent lights here, as well as an illuminated badge. You can check out those in my night video, including a headlight review as well. There's a camera integrated nicely right there in the very center. Parking sensors integrated as well, and the radar adaptive cruise control sensor is here. Now the headlights are a stacked LED projector system. So this upper portion right here is your low beams, and then the lower portion joins in for your high beams. These are auto leveling, which only means that when you floor it, it'll keep the cutoff level from going up too high and blinding other drivers. That's all it really means, but it is an auto leveling system. It's pretty cool. It has a cornering light and all that stuff. I showed that all in the night video if you want to check it out. Parking lights and all that stuff as well, turn signals. So looking at the profile, you have more of that gloss black continuing on around the sides, the base of the doors, as well as a chrome strip there. It has body colored handles, which are illuminated slightly at nighttime. And then the gloss black side mirrors, pillars, the whole entire roof is all gloss black. It has this little accent here as well. Now there is a window here, but other than that, it's just more of an accent there. This is what the key looks like, and it's a full proximity key. It's basically GM's key. It does have the lock, unlock, the ability to remote start, open up the power lift gate, and a panic button here. Let's go ahead and press that. It has a little chirp there. Now, it's a proximity key with a physical key on the inside, but it's designed just where you can keep it in your pocket or a bag and use the vehicle 100%. Never really have to take it out. Now it has the type of handles, these will pop out when you get close to the vehicle, but if they don't pop out, or if they already close if you don't get in fast enough, you press on this side, it pops out like this. And basically it's like an electric switch. It's not a mechanical handle. So when the vehicle's locked, it's kind of hard for somebody to overpower and break the handle or whatever to get in, because it's electric. This just initiates an electric switch in the door. The charge door opens up, it's a power door. And you see it pops out here, and it has the illumination around the outside, a button to close it. There's a seal around the outside, and then there is the DC charge port there at the bottom, and then a regular AC there at the top. So it's pretty straightforward. The doors go all the way to the bottom of the vehicle. There's actually a seal down here, so it seals up this threshold, keeping it relatively clean. And the inside of the door, this very stylish interior. It has this cloth, which has a pattern, kind of unique pattern to it. Looking pretty cool. And there's like a vinyl type material here to here. And then there is a cloth here. And then it's kind of like a tennis ball type material, felt. And then there's hard touch surfaces here at the bottom. You notice it has the AKG speaker grill looking nice, and then a little white accent with some illumination. You can see that in the night video as part of the ambient light system. There's a little pocket here. There's the door handle, which is integrated nicely. Here's the heated seat controls, or heated everything, everything for the seat basically. So you have the heated ventilated seats. You can select the back or the bottom. It's a 3-stage on any of them. 2 presets on the power seat, as well as an exit mode here, and then you adjust the seat here, as well as a lumbar adjustment and a massage function here. So everything's on the door. The only issue with that is if you're sitting in the seat and you want to get it positioned before you shut the door, it's kind of hard to reach out and reach it. But yeah, pretty good amount of space here on the bottom of the door. There's an illuminated little badge there on the seal plate. And there's the leather seats with the stitching, perforations, and all that stuff. And they're pretty comfortable seats. Now the outer bolsters here are a little bit firm, so depending on, you know, your size and how you sit in the seat and everything, you know, once you take it for a test drive, you'll know if it's right for you. But the seats, you know, sometimes are an issue, like not comfortable for me, but I've kind of gotten used to them. But you know, it's a subjective thing, I guess. There's the leg room, lots of leg room, plenty of room here. I like this pocket, or this open space to put a bag right here, because it's very accessible. It's easier to get to than something that's tucked underneath, and you're gonna put a bag or whatever there, and it's visible. Whatever you put there is very visible, so you don't forget it. Opening up this glove compartment, you will need to access the screen to do that, and we'll do that a little bit later. We have more of this cloth, and then kind of rubbery, non-reflective dash. And I like the way these little vents are controlled. They look pretty good. They're kind of integrated nicely, easy to control, and look good. Now it has a glass roof, not a sunroof. So you can see there's the underside where the shade's covering it up. And then on the top part, it's basically just looks like a regular black roof, but it's actually a glass roof. The opening here on the front is no problem. The height of the seat off the ground is very easy to get in and out of this vehicle. You're not bumping your head. There's lots of room. The swing of the door here in the front is nice. The space just going this way is great. This back door though, I don't know if you can tell, this swing of the door is not all that great. It'd be nice if it swung out just a little bit more, because we have a smaller area. It's not bad, but we have a smaller area this way. You know, the height is still fine and all that, but you know, just make it a little bit easier to get in the vehicle if the swing of the door was better, in my opinion. We have more cloth, like a vinyl soft material here, then that tennis ball type material, then hard touch surfaces, slightly smaller, or quite a bit smaller pocket there. But yeah, still has the cool speaker and everything. But yeah, I don't know if you can tell, it's kind of, with this door not swinging out, it's kind of cramped right here. Could be a little bit better. Now basically a bench seat back here, and you can see the armrest, cup holders. It's very soft there. I wish the armrest for the driver is that soft. Now it has the ISOFIX, or latch system for car seats, easy to get to. And this hinges up, so that way you don't lose these covers. Some vehicles you have to pop this off and then find a place for them. This one, you know, just hinges up when you're using a car seat. I like that white piping, the stitching and all that stuff, looks good. So yeah, these seats are good. And check out the back of these front seats. Kind of bolsters here, stitching and all that stuff. And then you have the pockets, almost completely flat floor. Plenty of legroom back here as well. Even that, like I have that driver's seat all the way back, so there's still plenty of legroom. Heated seats back here, USB ports, and then a power inverter here as well. So it's a 110 3-prong. Little pocket, it's kind of insignificant pocket there. It's kind of hard to use, I guess, depending on what you use it for, I suppose. There's some issues with the interior lighting. I showed that in the night video, so if you want to check it out, there's a at night video on this vehicle, so you can check out my channel. Looking at the back, it has the fairly large shark fin antenna up there, gloss black, of course, like everything back here. It has a spoiler with the rear third brake light right there in the center, and the glass kind of like blends in with everything around it, even the spoiler here. And there's the taillights are up here and down here, and they're LEDs. You can check out my night video for that. And then there's actually 2 cameras back here, and they're in good positions, really. This actually could be the backup camera, but this is actually the rear view camera. This could be a little bit higher, and then this for the backup camera could be there. So, you know, as it is, at least they're in the very center, and they're integrated nicely. So yeah, that's fine. Parking sensors back here, integrated into the black portion. And yeah, tail lights, and the lights are kind of interesting back here. You got to check out the night video to see what it looks like. So to open up the power liftgate, just press this emblem like so. Takes a second, and it'll lift up. Then there's a hard touch surfaces under here. Here's the cargo area, and it has a shade, which this one's a little bit of a pain. It's fine to cover stuff up, but when it goes back here, this flap, you can't just pick it up like that like some vehicles. It's always flopping in the way. I wish it had the ability to lift it up and then it snap in place up here like some other manufacturers do. This one's just like constantly flopping in the way and getting in my way. So I would probably just take it out. Like it has these, like these speaker grills back here. These are tweeters. You can definitely hear them when the music's on. It's a real high-pitched sound. There is the subwoofer back here as well. There's two lights, and they do a, you know, kind of an adequate job, like I showed in the night video. You can check that out. 12-volt power supply is here. There's some tie downs as well. Little storage cubby are on the sides. That's where the light is kind of lacking for the most part on these lights here. Okay, so this is really cool. This floor, it's kind of slippery, so you want to put like a mat or rubber mat or something so things don't slide around. But it is nice for getting things in and out of this. It's a good height. It's very easy to, you know, just load it up. You can fold the seats down if you want, and they fold flat basically, so you have a nice flat floor when this floor is at this level. When you lower this level, you see right here, let me just take this out so you can see what I'm talking about. You have this little storage cubby here. This is where the charge cable is. And there is the tie down hook. So like, you know, tow hook or whatever. And it's reverse thread. And so it's kind of neat to have the subfloor storage area. But you notice this has this little center post right there. That supports the center of this when it's in place. But when we put it in this lower position, this is kind of a neat idea. When we put it in this lower position, it springs down like that. So you can see as I'm putting this in place, it springs that down. And then I'm able to put this in a little bit of a lower position. Now we have greater height. We have this little, you know, when I was talking about things sliding around, well, it's only go so far because it has like this box around it. We have greater height. Now we can put less stuff under it, but we have more space here. I think I would leave it in this position. Now, when you fold the seats down in this position, it's not a flat floor anymore. It's more like a ramp up to the folded seats. So it's a slightly different situation there. But yeah, I thought it was a kind of cool solution. Now these have self-sealing tires, so it doesn't have a spare tire. So it has these Continental self-sealing tires. So, you know, that's something to be aware of, especially if you're going on a long trip or something. Pressing this button, it comes down. It takes a second and it'll come down. It does have a little beep and then it comes down. The beep isn't overly loud, so that's nice. To raise the hood, there's this latch and you just pull it twice. So one time and then one more time. So now all we have to do is just lift it up. It doesn't have a like a catch or anything. And just you pull it twice and then it releases it. And you notice up here there is no storage compartment. It's just basically mechanical stuff. It is easy to get to, the 12-volt battery and everything. So as far as like, you know, something simple like changing the battery, you won't need to take out any kind of like front trunk or anything like that. So there is benefits to not having, you know, a large compartment up here. Everything can be spaced out, a little bit easier to access, and you know, lower cost of maintenance and repairs, that kind of thing. But basically it's designed like a regular gas vehicle. You can see it has an insulated firewall. The suspension towers are braced in. This just doesn't have a gas engine. It kind of looks like it has an engine because this is this big thing here. But we have power inverters, we have high voltage cables here, we have HVAC for heating, cooling, you know, braking, cooling things. So, you know, to the untrained eye, you might say, oh, it's got an engine, there it is, you know. But no, it's just all these different components. They're kind of spread out, and I like that. I mean, I like the way it's easy to get to. Now, this is a dual motor all-wheel drive system with an 85 kilowatt-hour battery pack, and you're able to get 302 miles of range with a full 100% charge. Now, it puts out 300 horsepower and 354 pound-feet of instant torque, of course, because it's an electric vehicle, but this one is not like a super fast one or anything like that. But it does have decent power, and you're able to accelerate and everything, pass, merge, all that stuff, no problem. But it's not like a performance fast EV like some others. It does have the blind spot detection system right here. And rear cross traffic alert, these are heated side mirrors as well, and it's auto dimming here as well on this side. Now the driver's side door is just like the other side, except for it has a few more buttons. So we can see all the seat controls are up here, just like the other side. All that stuff is the same. It has the power window switches here, power folding side mirrors, and then you can adjust the mirrors there. But yeah, looking pretty good. And of course the seat doesn't have any controls on it. And once again, like I said, these side bolsters, for me, a little bit of an issue when I first started driving it, but yeah, you want to take it for an extended test drive, make sure that the seats are going to work for you. I think they'll be fine for most people though. Here to the left of the steering column, it has an electronic parking brake and it engages the rear wheels. And I wish there was a setting to where it'll automatically turn on. Basically, when you put it in park, it's like just a regular transmission feel. You know, it'll kind of rock a little bit if you're on a hill. It won't actually engage this automatically. But if you do turn it on, it'll automatically turn off if you put it in gear, start pressing the pedal. But I don't know, I wish it was just automatically on, automatically off every single time, because it is an EV, right? So it doesn't have a traditional transmission and all that stuff. So having the parking brake just automatically engage when you put it in park, that would be ideal. This is to open up the power lift gate. You have an auto hold function, and then there's the dimmer switch for the interior gauges. There's also a tilt and telescoping steering column. It just has a manual lever there. You lock in place. I'm sitting in the driver's seat. I'm 6 feet tall, and I have the driver's seat all the way down and all the way back to give you an idea of the potential legroom here. And it's great here on the sides, and also it's a little bit too far back for me to drive. Me being 6 feet tall, I do need to pull it up. So if you're over 6 feet, so I'm gonna go pull it up a little bit here. If you're over 6 feet, you shouldn't have any problem driving this vehicle. There's a lot of room here. The angle of the footrest is great. The pedals are good. There seems to be plenty of room, enough room anyway here for driving. But yeah, nothing impeding my legs or anything. I like the way this is open. The steering wheel is leather wrapped. It has a good thickness here around the entire thing, but it has this plastic piece that's for the lights for the Super Cruise system. But other than that, it has the leather wrapping and it feels good. It's very comfortable. It kind of gives a little bit of a soft surface, so it feels good. A lot of gloss black here on the steering wheel. And I'm not really 100% sure how I like this broadness here on the steering wheel. It does have a lot of buttons, and they're trying to cram everything to where they're facing you. I like the General Motors vehicles that have the buttons on the back of the steering wheel for basic stuff like the volume and stuff. So I prefer that better than having so much stuff here, like these huge panels on the steering wheel. Now it does have, so like say the cruise control adaptive part, and this is for the Super Cruise. You can turn that on, so you can set the cruise control and turn it on or off. Once you turn on the cruise control, next time you drive the vehicle, it'll stay on, and all you have to do is set it here. So it's pretty good. And the Super Cruise works well, even on some back roads, not only highways. It works on a lot of different roads. There'll be like a little icon that pops up on the heads-up display letting you know that Super Cruise is available. It'll also be here on the screen as well. And then you can turn it on, and it's a hands-free system basically. And once again, it works pretty well, especially on highways. It's like really handy on a highway, and you don't have to have your hands off the steering wheel. You can actually hold the steering wheel, but if you need to take your hands off for whatever reason, you can do that. But definitely keep an eye on driving, because it's a lane holding feature. It's not a self-driving feature, so just keep that in mind for your own safety. Here on the right side is the volume for the radio, change to the tracks. And then you have these little shortcuts here, so you can make different selections. So like say if you pull up your radio, and then you can make choose a selection here with this little toggle switch. There's the shifter right here, and it's a non-traditional shifter, and it works well. So you pull in and go down for drive, pull in and hold it for neutral, pulling in to go up for reverse, and then this button here on the end is park. And let's go ahead and put it back in reverse so we can look at the camera system, because it looks good. The top down, the front, the back, you can have these different views here. You have different overhead views for the front and back. You notice it shows the tire tracks as well as the width of the vehicle here on the screen. And you also have the side view here, so it basically takes out the vehicle and just shows the side. And you can see here in the front, as I turn the steering wheel, you can see the tires moving, so you can get a precise look at what you're getting close to, make sure you're not hitting anything. So yeah, the camera system is excellent. You do have the ability to turn off the parking sensors on or off here if you want to. Windshield wiper controls are over here, and for the front and rear. And it does have a rain sensing system too. So it's like a little dial right here, and you can turn it and turn the rain sensing off if you want. But yeah, you can just kind of slide it, roll it here, roll it there. Of course, there's a turn signal as well, and then you can wash the windows as well here. Now the screen is set up towards one big long screen here from one side to the other. So it's like 30-something inches, but it has 3 different segments. So this is a touch screen, this is like your gauge cluster, and then over here on this edge is a little access panel, because there's some stuff that, like the headlight switch, is buried in a sub-menu on the screen. So to separate that, they have this little one right here. So you have these different options. So you have the layout of your screen, HUD options, which you can turn off, and then you have a trip as well here. You also have your headlight switch, and then your lane keep assist system. You can turn that, toggle it on or off here. Let's go back to the original one here. Let's go to layout, and there's different views here. So looking at the gauge cluster here, I like the way it has the outside temperature, the date, the clock, digital speedometer, how much energy you're either using or regenerating to the battery. Here on the right side is your battery percentage meter and how many miles you can drive, and then whatever your radio is doing will show up right here. But let's go ahead and change this view here. So we have, that's the gauge. Let's go to energy. So it has a different kind of theme going on here. Map view. So it's pretty straightforward. It has your navigation map, and what you can have here and also here if you'd like, but it just puts it right in front of you. This is really good when you have an address set and you're in a place you're not familiar with. That helps out a lot. Your assist systems here, or you can just have a clean look. So that's the clean look there, and there's the different options. The gauge is pretty much standard. I mean, that seems to work fine for me. It gives me information and not overly cluttered or looking too cheesy or whatever. But yeah, it looks good. So yeah, that's the different segments on this screen, even though it's one big screen. All right, so speaking of screens, here's the main touch screen, which is normally disconnected. You know, on most vehicles I have a disconnected screen over here, since this one is a solid piece, just to make it look good. So it has these different icons here. So this is the home, and it has these different icons within this category. And then you can see right here. Now, one of the things that it has is a subcategory of your home button here is controls. You hit that because there's certain things that are in here, like your dome light, glove box release, camera, which you can look at without being in reverse or whatever. Auto high beam. So there's some things you have to go to your controls, but it's not all of them for some reason. The screen's big enough to fit them, but if you see right here, it has see more controls. Now we have additional ones. A little bit of redundancy though, you know. So it's like all these like sub menus, like intermediary steps that seem to be unnecessary to me. But anyways, that's something to consider with the controls. You have to know where that is, because, you know, like if you want to turn on the dome light, you got to go into the submenu of the submenu, right? Okay, so, you know, you have like vehicle status. You have different drive modes here, which you can, has a touring mode, sport, and snow and ice. You also have my mode, which you can customize. My Cadillac, this will be like your, you know, you log into your services, you have different plans, subscriptions that you can sign up for. Schedule service through there and stuff like that. It does have a assistant, I won't say the name, otherwise it's going to pop up, which does fairly well as far as, you know, understanding what you say and implementing what you want. And then you have a Play Store here if you want to install more apps. Charging features are here. They're charging options basically, and you can set it up the amount you want to charge, if you want to have it charge less or more. like that. You can also have charge later if you like and set it up, especially since a lot of electric companies are setting up time use pricing. So it's going to be more expensive during certain times, less expensive during certain times. So, you know, with this system, you're able to charge later, plug it in, but then it'll charge whenever you tell it to charge and not when you immediately plug it in. Charge now is just whenever you plug it in, that's when it's going to charge. So however you want to use it. So yeah, you can find different places to charge if you need to. Normally you'd charge at your house. Then you have your different more settings here. You can precondition the battery. If it's very cold and you're out on the road somewhere, you want to precondition the battery to make sure when you get to the charging destination you'll get a faster charge. You have that ability too. These are like kind of widgets here which you can customize if you want. Whatever your radio is doing, there's a little icon here for that. Here's your different audio sources. Navigation map is here. And it looks good, nice and smooth, responsive. And then you can pair phones here. And then this is another redundant button to get back to the charge settings. And you notice you have these buttons right here. So this one is to turn off the vehicle. This is to leave the vehicle on for an hour and then automatically turn off. This is to release the glove compartment. So you press that and it'll pop it open over here. And then this is to initiate one pedal driving. So as you release the pedal, it's going to slow the vehicle down. So if you need one pedal driving, if you like that, then you know that's not really the same thing as the regen, because the regen kind of automatically happens when you're just driving normally, but it'll regen to the battery. It'll generate electricity using the drive motor of the vehicle in reverse. Instead of using energy, it's generating energy and then putting it right back into the battery as you slow down, brake, that kind of stuff, coast down a hill, whatever. This one pedal drive is to actually just use the accelerator, and then as you let go of it, it's going to slow you down. So it's constantly removing a lot of momentum, and the efficiency of the regen is not sufficient in my book to justify using one pedal drive all the time, unless it's just the way you like it to drive that way. It's more, it's a different type of system. You're not going to experience this in a gas car. So if you're normally using a gas car, using one pedal drive is a little awkward. So, something to keep in mind. If you get into one of these vehicles and have it turned on, this is where you can turn it off until you get used to it, that kind of thing. Now you can use this system, some of these features like these different features on the screen, you can use this dial and these little quick access buttons here in this volume if you need to. And the dial basically is designed where you can bump it like this, or you can turn it and then you press down to make selections, right? So right here, you can see that's highlighted. If I bump it to the left, you can see now that's highlighted. If I turn the knob, you can see it makes different selections here. So if I want to, for whatever reason, turn the vehicle off, I can select that. If you accidentally press it, it's going to pop up and ask you if you want to do it. We can cancel that. If we select this one, it'll pop up and say the vehicle will remain on for an hour. So basically, when you get in the vehicle and then you get out, like you're driving somewhere, and then you get out of the vehicle, it just automatically turns off. If you don't want that to happen, you can, bypass that by turning it on. So let's say you had somebody in the car, you need to run in the store, they need the air conditioning or the heat, you can go ahead and leave the vehicle on while you're in the store, that kind of thing. So that's nice. And also being able to turn it off, because sometimes you get in the vehicle, it automatically starts up and everything starts going, and then you're like, well, darn, I can't leave now, I got to go back inside the house. Well, unless you drive somewhere, it's not going to automatically turn off when you get out. So being able to make that selection there to turn off the vehicle is also good. So yeah, that's kind of like a quick rundown of what the screen's all about. It does have the small digital clock over here. I think it could be implemented a little bit better, but as it is, it's okay. It looks good. The clarity of the screen looks great. The resolution, the colors, everything looks really good. Down here is the climate control. You have the driver and passenger temperatures, where you want the air to blow. You have an automatic function. You can turn the system off. Heat will automatically turn on, but if you want to turn it on here, you can. Recirculate the air, front and rear defrosters there. So it's pretty straightforward. There's a compartment here, and it's kind of hard to tell. Okay, so this whole area here in the center is, once again, it looks good. It looks really good, but there could be some refinements here, right? This compartment has a kind of cool feature at nighttime if you want to check out my night video there. But let me just show you. So when I put this in here, you can see, okay, when I put something in there, like it's way over there. So reaching over all the way over here, like reaching all the way to the back is a little bit of a strain, you know, like it's just this weird pocket place. It is nice to have that pocket sometimes, I guess. But you know, it has the USB ports here. You can see I have my cable here. There's a reason for that. But you know, I don't know, that just trying, it's kind of awkward trying to get through here to get to that compartment. This is an issue. Now another thing is, it has this little pocket right here. This pocket, my phone doesn't fit this way. If I stand up my phone, it's going to press these buttons here. So, and if I put like something small in there, let's say a pen or something, well, the sun shines directly on it because it's right underneath the windshield, so it leaks ink. If I put change in there, it's kind of hard to get out. It's hard to see. You got to lean way over here in order to see it. And from my vantage point, that pocket doesn't even hardly exist because I can't see it. So I'm not sure what the intended use of that pocket is, you know? So this could be brought back to make it easier to get into the more useful compartment there. So yeah, that doesn't make any sense to me. Aesthetically, this all looks good. The contours, it's very artsy. You know, you have the cloth here, and then that white portion, black, and then this gloss portion right here. It looks pretty cool with the dials and everything. This volume knob needs to be rubberized or something. It's too slippery. So I accidentally press in on it while I'm trying to roll it, trying to get enough, you know, pressure on it in order to get friction so I can roll it. It won't roll, right? So I'm rolling it, won't roll. So I have to press in, still won't roll. But if I press too hard, then it mutes the radio or it turns off the volume or whatever. So, you know, that needs to be rubberized or you know, have some kind of better grip. It's too smooth. These cup holders are fine. They're in a decent location. They do have little rubber bottoms that you can take out and clean, put back in, that kind of thing. Okay, so there is a wireless charger right here. I put my phone there. It almost never charges. It's kind of in this weird, odd place too. So I'll show you kind of why I think it doesn't charge. First of all, I have a thick case. You know, that's one issue. I'll show you that in a second. This is kind of like a rubberized, kind of cheap feeling armrest. It's not like a soft pillow. It doesn't really feel or look, I don't know, just nothing special, nothing bad really, but you know, just kind of plain. It opens up this way, which kind of makes it to where the passenger can't access this compartment very easy. Now they do have this compartment, which is nice. This is good, usable for like putting a bag there for either the driver or the passenger, and I like that. It's felt lined and everything. It has an ambient light inside at nighttime, so that's a good compartment. So they may not even need to use this little thing because this is barely usable anyway. This little quick access tray is felt lined, but you know, I guess, I don't know, it kind of gets in the way. So let's go ahead and move that out of the way. Here's the actual compartment here, and you can see it goes in there, but it's very, very small, you know. It has this like a little carpet floor on the bottom. It has a light, it's not very bright. There is 2 USB ports. There's a 12-volt power supply, which isn't very useful if you're using it for a radar detector or something. Just kind of putting it in here is not good. Okay, so here's the actual charger. Let me put my phone in it so you can see what I was doing. So when I put my phone there, like that, that's where the position is going to be. Now, it seems fine in principle, right? But let me just show you why I think it doesn't work. This cover comes off, and there's this huge, like 1/4-inch standoff on this cover between this and the actual charger, plus my case. So I don't know why they have this huge standoff to separate your phone so far away from the actual charger here. So I'm not sure what's going on with that. It just seems like a very odd choice. Maybe, you know, maybe like you're an engineer or something, or you designed this vehicle. maybe you can explain the reasoning, because in the end, it just doesn't work. So, you know, I'm not sure what the reasoning is, but it definitely needs to be improved, because if I can't put my phone in a charger, I have to plug it in. That's why I have this cable, so I have to plug it in, and it kind of defeats the whole idea, the convenience of this thing, even though it is kind of like this, you know, awkward spot here. But anyways, that's that. Now it has a rear view camera and a rear view mirror, which auto dim rear view mirror, and the camera actually is pretty good. I mean, rear view cameras are like excellent. I love rear view cameras, and so yeah, it's sometimes it looks a little washed out. This one's actually seems to be a little bit better than some of the other ones I've seen, but yeah, it could be a little bit larger. It seems like it's a little bit small. Maybe more, you know, square instead of contoured at the bottom. I don't know, but it's fine. Day or night, I can see fine behind the vehicle. So I love rear view cameras. You have the OnStar and emergency buttons here. Four-way flashers are up here. You do have these little tap lights that are, you know, they're okay. You got to check out the night video if you want to see how they perform and everything. There's a button here for the roof shade. I'll show you that in a second. There's a driver monitor camera. It has one here as well. There's a driver monitor camera, and then it has these illuminators for nighttime and also your sunglasses, and then a little light that shines here when your Super Cruise is active, basically. But the thing about the Super Cruise is that it doesn't have a grip sensor on the steering wheel. It has a torque sensor only, and it's like ridiculous. So when the system turns off like automatically, let's say you're going into an area in which it doesn't have the road information or whatever, it starts flashing lights to take over, and I'm like literally holding the steering wheel, and it's still flashing the light, and I'm jiggling the steering wheel like this, and I'm grabbing it with both hands, and it's still flashing the light at me. And there was one time, this wasn't this vehicle, it was another Cadillac, which I was doing all this trying to you know, just try to let the vehicle know I'm holding the steering wheel. Well, it didn't recognize it, and it slammed on the brakes, turned on the four-way flashers, and locked me out of Super Cruise. I'm like, I'm holding the steering wheel. Like, it doesn't have a grip sensor, and apparently you have to like swerve all over the road to try to get it sometimes to know that you're holding the steering wheel, because it doesn't have a grip sensor. That needs to be added, a grip sensor on the steering wheel, not a torque sensor that's not even sensitive enough to you know, register that you're holding the steering wheel, even when you're like jerking it left and right and everything. So that's a big issue. There's also this button right here, which is excellent. This is a regen button, and basically this is so addicting, this button. When you're driving and you want to slow down, and you don't have to like, you know, slap on the brakes or anything, and you know you're coming to, you know, slowing down, you can pull on this button, and it's pressure sensitive. So the more you press it, the more it slows you down. And so you can press it just gently and get the amount of, you know, braking basically needed. And it just, you're able to really slow down the vehicle. And every time you pull the button, it is adding back power, regenerating electricity to the battery. And so, yeah, it's very addicting with that button. It's fun. You know, just try it out. You'll see what I'm talking about. You know, and, you know, just use it in scenarios in which you're coming to a stop and all that stuff, and, you know, or going down a hill or something like that. It's just so nice. It's fun. But yeah, that's a nice implementation. The visor has a cloth just like the headliner, and then there's these mirrors and lights. And the mirrors, I mean, the lights do a good job of illuminating your face without blinding you. I showed that in a night video. It's really good. It also has a slide out here, and then a little clip there. You get good coverage, really. It'd be nice, probably nicer if that was like a vinyl or something, but as it is, it's fine, because this cloth is somewhat easier to clean than other cloth. This is like the smooth microfiber type cloth. Okay, so it has this shade that covers a glass roof, not a sunroof, a glass roof. And the shade, I mean, I can feel a lot of heat coming in. It's a hot day, and I can feel the heat just building up here. But, you know, it does block 100% of the sun. But as far as like heat coming in, that roof is hot, very hot. But there's a button up here, and you can press that, open it up, and it slowly goes back. So you can see it's one solid glass piece here. So yeah, pretty cool. Kind of helps with claustrophobia or whatever for the backseat passengers or backseat drivers, whoever happens to be back there. But yeah, it's kind of slow, you know, but that's kind of cool, the power part. And I like these little speaker grills up here. It does have the AKG system, and I like the little things like that. It does sound really good as well. Looking at the visibility back here, there's a significant pillar that you're gonna have to get used to. It does have a little window there, but just overall, I mean, the camera system, blind spot detection system, parking sensors and all that stuff really make this a non-issue. But if you're still, there's times in which you need to look over your shoulder and see behind you, and those pillars are a little bit big, but like any vehicle, you're just gonna have to get used to it. It's just the way it is. It's not really an issue here on the front. This pillar, this is the pillar that people overlook as a blind spot so much, which this is the biggest problem sometimes. But yeah, it's a little bit like, I don't know, this part right here makes it a little bit thick. That window is not really useful unless you're leaning this way. So, you know, I don't know, that could be like a structural component or something, not sure. It's a fairly easy vehicle to drive. For a Cadillac, I mean, I guess pretty much any vehicle, the seat comfort isn't ideal for me. You know, it might work fine for you, but in my particular case, it's not ideal. It seems like the side bolsters are just a little bit too intrusive here on the bottom, which is kind of interesting. Don't usually experience that. And it does have the massage function. It's not like overly intrusive or anything. Like you can kind of barely feel it sometimes, but it does have the massage function. And some of the controls, like your lumbar adjustments and stuff like that, you do have to go into the screen to adjust them. So yeah, just kind of getting in the vehicle, getting comfortable and all that stuff. You know, for me, it took a few minutes to try to get some, you know, the seat a little bit better and all that. But I mean, it's fine. It's just the seat, like I wouldn't necessarily want to go on like a long trip or something, just because of the seat comfort. As far as the ride quality, it's nice and smooth. The only issue with since this is an EV and it has that, you know, very responsive torque, it has, and it seems like GM just hasn't been able to figure this out yet, it has a significant amount of torque steer. So when you're accelerating, it just kind of goes all over the place sometimes. If you're accelerating hard, especially if you're, you know, if the wheel isn't completely straight, it kind of like wants to tug. But even if it is straight, it kind of wants to wander like that. So that torque steer, it seems like it's a common issue with basically GM vehicles that are EVs. So, you know, that's just my experience so far. But yeah, it is quiet. It is really quiet in here. The tiniest amount of road noise, depending on the road, I mean, it is very, very small. But exterior noises are kept out nicely. There's very little road noise, almost no wind noise. So yeah, it's as far as that goes, nice and quiet. And the suspension system's great, kind of glides over and doesn't, you know, like, it's not overly floaty either. So it has a good mix between, you know, a floaty, you know, soft suspension and enough of a feel on the road to where you don't feel too disconnected, you know, or too, you know, like floaty and you know, car sicky type, you know, feeling. It's really good. So as far as the ride quality, the noise level, all that stuff is very well done. It's just the way you drive it. You know, the thing about an EV is that you want to like punch it sometimes just to enjoy that acceleration, especially if you're merging in traffic or passing. You want to take advantage of that instant acceleration, that power that's right there. He's, you know, on a very responsive pedal, and it just kind of takes away when you have significant torque steer where it's a little bit, I don't know, it's just a little bit of an issue. Then, you know, it kind of takes away the thrill of using that acceleration and stuff. So yeah, so that's a big drawback for me. I do like the amount of space you have in the front, the second seat, the back seat there, and in the cargo area. The amount of room is definitely good. It's adequate. Just the overall, space for everything is well done, I think. And I think the compartments are well done, like the being able to like lower the floor in the back, and having this open compartment here in the center console area, and not having like just like a little cubby that's like hard to reach. Since it's open here at the top and here on the sides, it's easily accessible from the driver and the passenger side. The cup holders are right there. The armrest is not like super soft or anything, but it's at a good height where it matches my arm and it feels comfortable. Same thing with the door armrest, which is more, it's still like, it's kind of like neither one of them are really soft, but just the way it's angled and the height and everything is fine for me. Now, I've had some issues with the GPS system on the software on the screen, and if the GPS doesn't work, then the Super Cruise doesn't work. So that's something to consider. If the Super Cruise, you're just driving along and it just will not turn on, it just says no road information, and you're like, I've used it on this road before, why isn't it working? It's because the GPS is connected. For whatever reason, I think it's software issue. I experienced in other vehicles with Super Cruise, other GM vehicles, where you're just driving the entire trip and Super Cruise will not work at all until you stop the vehicle, restart it, like turn the vehicle off, walk away for a few minutes, come back, and then that gives it a chance to restart the software, and then the GPS will connect. So, something to consider, that if you're experiencing, first of all, no GPS, but the secondary would be the Super Cruise not working, then it's most likely that GPS just not connecting for whatever reason. It really is a problem sometimes, especially if you're going on a long trip. You get all your kids loaded up, everybody's loaded in the car. You're like, all right, let's take off. And then the GPS doesn't work, the Super Cruise doesn't work, and they're like, all right, everybody got to stop somewhere, get out of the car, let it restart and everything. So yeah, that's definitely something that has to be addressed. Probably just with a software update. So it's probably not a huge deal. But as it is right now, I've experienced it, with a couple GM vehicles here. So, hopefully they'll get on the ball and go ahead and fix that problem. But other than that, there's, like it feels like other than what I've mentioned so far, seat comfort and all that stuff, it feels like, the suspension and everything and the quietness, it feels like that torque steer is kicking in. What a Cadillac would be, a little bit more refinement, and I wonder if they can probably use a software update possibly to fix that torque steer issue. You send a little bit more power in the back when you're accelerating, and then that way you're not like squirming all over the place. The front end's not squirming all over the place when you accelerate. All right, so let's go ahead and see if the Super Cruise should work. Yeah, because the navigation is working. So if you're not familiar with Super Cruise is you have cruise control, which you can set, and it's a radar adaptive, so that way it sets the distance between you and the vehicle in front of you and keeps you away from other cars. And it has a lane keep assist system automatically, the button over here. But this one, with the Super Cruise, when you initiate that, what it does is that it holds the lane for you without you holding the steering wheel. That's it. It's not a self-driving feature. It is not it's pretty advanced. I mean, it's pretty good for what it does, but it's very important to distinct this. Just make sure that this is not a self-driving feature, because it's not going to avoid things in the road. It's just going to hold the lane for you. If there is a vehicle in front of you, yes, it's going to slow down. But if there's like some huge thing that fell out of somebody's truck, a center block or something, or if there's a huge pothole or anything, that's in front of you, it's just going to plow right into it, because it's not designed for that. It's just designed to hold the lane for you and keep you at a distance, with other cars and stuff. So something to consider. It is not a self-driving feature. Now, it does take into account curves in the road. So if you're driving, now this is the highway, so it's a set speed and it's a wide open space, right? But if you're on like a back road and there's curves and stuff, it will actually slow you down before you get to the curve, stuff like that. So that's part of the reason why it uses the navigation system it utilizes that to know where you're at and where you're headed towards, and you know, like it can slow you down when the speed limit changes and stuff like that. And also the curves in the road. You know, like a real sharp curve. Let's say the speed limit is 55. Well, the curve, you know, you're supposed to go 45 through that curve or whatever. It'll slow you down, make through the curve, and then speed you back up. Little things like that other systems will not do. So Super Cruise is very handy, as long as you understand what it is and what it's not, you know. So yeah, I enjoy it. At low speeds, you do have like this exterior noise. It's kind of like a spaceship sound. I don't know if you can hear it. It's actually, you know, I wish it would just stop. You know, like after you go like faster than 10 miles an hour or something. I don't know. I'm not really a fan of noises coming from an EV, like artificial noises, unless it's like mandated by law. You know, and I think what it is, just mandated at lower speeds. You know, just to let other people know you're moving, I guess, through a parking lot or something like that. So let's see if there's any, yeah, okay, so this road has Super Cruise as well. So yeah, it's amazing to me that Super Cruise, see a lot of other manufacturers, they will have their hands-off system, especially, only on certain highways. Some manufacturers, even the hands-on system only works on certain highways. This actually works on a lot of different roads, not just on the major highways, back roads and stuff like that. Now, it will, okay, so right now, once we're getting into this area, it's telling me I have to take over. So, you know, so there's certain roads that it will have it and certain roads it won't. But it's very important to make sure you take over. Otherwise, it's like it starts beeping the horn at you and all kinds. It just flips out. The vehicle flips out, and then it'll eventually slam on the brakes and turn on the four-way, the flashers. You know, don't ask me how I know that, but it will. It'll do that. So what happens is this vehicle has a torque sensor on the steering wheel. So if you are driving a Super Cruise, then it says take over, and then you hold the steering wheel. If you don't move it, then it doesn't sense that your hands are there. You have to like jiggle it a little bit because it has a torque sensor. It doesn't have a grip sensor, which is a big miss. All these GM products with the Super Cruise should have a grip sensor on the steering wheel, so that way it can tell your hands are there. Otherwise, you have to, like, you know, to let the system know, you have to move the steering wheel left and right. Otherwise, you can hold the steering wheel. If you're not turning it, then it doesn't recognize your hands are there, and then it starts flipping out, and then, you know, like you're like, I'm holding the steering wheel, but yet it's still telling me to put my hands on the steering wheel. You know, it's like a RoboCop thing. But yeah. So yeah, little refinements like that, you know, I think that, you know, will be ironed out over time. So like with this vehicle, seat comfort is the only like physical thing they probably needed to work on. Other than that, the issues that I'm talking about mostly can be, you know, fixed with a software update, or, you know, changing the system or something like that for future vehicles, that kind of thing. But yeah, I really enjoy driving EVs in general. This one isn't like super fast, you know. I mean, it has that instant acceleration and responsive pedal and all that stuff, but it's not like pin you to your seat fast. It's not that type of vehicle. It's more for comfort and convenience, more of a practical type vehicle, and just overall what most people need. A passenger and cargo space, and it's at decent height. It's not low to the ground like a car. So you have that SUV experience, lots of room. It has a flat floor, lots of leg room. And since it's an EV, there's no places for transmissions and drive shafts and stuff like that to, you know, go back and forth. So under the vehicle, so it's just flat, and so you can have a lot of space for the passengers, interior space and cargo space. So in that sense, it's well done. You know, I wish you can open the glove compartment without turning the vehicle on and going to the screen. That would be nicer. But yeah, as it is, it's there's a lot of pluses, and really the negatives I'm explaining are, you know, like things that are negative to me, they might not be a problem for you, you know, so consider that. Sound system is good. It has the AKG system, and I, you know, enjoy listening to that. You know, adjust it on the screen, you know, the audio settings and everything, and it, you know, sounded even better. So yeah, that's really good. I don't really use this dial over here. I tend to just use the touch screen. Probably this dial would be nice to get used to. I mean, I'd use it. I can use it, but I just tend to just like not use it because I'm so used to touch screens. But I think I would eventually, you know, if I'm driving this vehicle for, you know, a long period of time, after, you know, a month or so of getting, you know, a couple of weeks or a month, I'd probably start trying to utilize this more, because this is convenient because the location, it's right there. And, you know, to the degree that I need to make adjustments on the screen, this is a really good way of doing it for certain, you know, quick access stuff. This little scroll wheel for the volume is okay. It's a little bit too slick. If it was rubberized, it'd be better. Because when you press in, it mutes the radio. So if you're trying to scroll it and your finger's like not getting a good grip on it, then it'll basically, like what I just did, it'll press in on the button and unmute it, or accidentally mute it. So yeah, it's you know, that's a little quirk there, that if that was like a rubberized wheel like some other manufacturers have, it would be a little bit better. Since there's no knob, you know, it has like a wheel there, so you have to have better traction on it. So I'm just going to accelerate a little bit right here. So yeah, you can hear a little bit of that fake noise. A little bit of torque steer even going straight. And, well, it has good acceleration. Torque steer kind of takes away from the fun. And it, you know, like, it's not like super fast. It's not really that type of vehicle, but it does have the enough power for really good acceleration, you know, for, you know, passing or merging or whatever, just getting up to speed in traffic. So yeah, it's got the power for this type of vehicle. You know, like, it's you know, it's not intended to be super fast. So like, if other SUVs like this, this is probably going to outperform a lot of just regular gas ones as far as accelerating. But yeah, I mean, you know, for an EV, you know, like, if you've driven EVs before, or if you understand what it's all about, then you know, you might think this is like another fast one or whatever. It's not really like that.